Every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the fastest lion or it will be killed. Every morning, a lion wakes up. It knows it must outrun the slowest gazelle or it will starve to death. It does not matter whether you're a lion or a gazelle. When the sun comes up, you better start running. Quoted from the website worldpress.com. This is what this company needs to do: start running. We are looking to increase business by reaching foreign markets. We're going to look at the country of Botswana in southern Africa while analyzing the benefits and even the negative aspects of this country. We will also consider the geography, the people, government, trade currency, and the infrastructure of the country. As we look at each of these aspects, we will determine if they are positive or negative factors regarding the 6 modes of entry, including exporting, turnkey project, licensing, franchising, joint ventures, and wholly owned subsidiaries. When considering Botswana as a possible trade partner, it is important to look at this country regarding the trade opportunities. Botswana is a landlocked country, meaning it is surrounded by countries on all sides with no waterways or seaports for importing and exporting. So this only means that an exporting mode of entry is to either use railroads, airports, or cargo trucks, but you may need special permits to pass through various countries. Also, when looking at airports, there's only one having international flights and is located in the capital city. So this also would increase the transportation cost. Trade relations may depend upon the climate of a foreign country. Botswana has the Kalahari Desert, which doesn't influence trade, but November through March in this country is the wet season, and with only 55% of the roads paved, this would hinder trade if cargo trucks are used, as well as flooding to the roads and bridges and possibly delays at the international airport. Something to remember with the unpaved roads and the flooding issues is whether or not the heavy cargo trucks could become embedded in the mud and therefore not meet shipping deadlines. People are sometimes a consideration of trade relations. The people of Botswana are viewed as poor. Many do not even have electricity, something we take for granted. However, the greatest concern is their health, because AIDS is still not under control in Botswana. This could impact the franchising mode of entry because of the health issues, especially in the fast food restaurant industry. It's considering this as a country in a partnership. Botswana, being a republic, is a positive factor to trade relations. This country desires foreign trade partnerships and has incentives posted on its embassy website. Lower taxes and easier ways of filing less paperwork to get permits and licenses is a positive factor. They also have created less time in getting visas, and they update a list of trade opportunities on the Botswana Embassy website. So this country is considered very friendly to foreign trade. Currency is important to foreign trade, since no company would want to consider a country where the money is in rapid decline. Botswana currency is the pula. Currently is holding strong and shows no signs of depreciating. Finally, when considering possible trade relations, a company's infrastructure must be viewed accordingly. Again, there are only 55% of the paved roads in this country, but they are also constantly maintained, as well as the bridges and the 600 miles of train tracks. The one airport having international flights, of course, also has paved runways. Some of the most important elements of deciding whether a country would make a good trade partner are the mode of entry. There are 6 modes of entry, which include exporting, turnkey project, licensing, franchising, joint venture, and wholly owned subsidiaries. First, we will look at the exporting mode of entry. Would Botswana be a good country to enter into an exporting venture? Again, as we've always learned, this country is landlocked with no seaports, only one airport supporting international flights, and over 6,000 miles of roadway in Botswana, only 55% of which are paved. But this country does offer a fairly decent rail system with over 600 miles of train tracks, which also connects it with South Africa, an important market we'll talk about later. The people of Botswana, by our standards, are poor, but according to nations around them, they are wealthy with a per capita GDP of $6,500. but still not a lot of income for the extra things of life. The economy has vastly improved since its independence in 1966, due mostly to the diamond trade. The government entered into a joint venture with De Beers Diamond and has used its profits to greatly improve infrastructure in Botswana. Also, the government is stable and friendly to outside enterprise, but they tend to lean more toward companies wishing to locate there so it can create jobs for their people. For this reason, I believe that exporting to Botswana is not a good mode of entry. The second mode of entry is a turnkey project. In this type of situation, the foreign company, in that case the foreign company that being us, goes in and sets up an operation for a fee and turns the key over to a company in Botswana. This is not a good mode of entry because it sets up a short-term profit with no long-term benefits. You have to have a huge trust factor between both countries and companies for this type of mode of entry to work. For these reasons, I do not believe that a turnkey project is a way to enter this market. The third mode of entry is licensing. This is a good mode of entry for some companies such as Coca-Cola. They license their product to be sold by another company using their trademark, formulas, etc. While this method works for Coca-Cola, it is not a viable option for all companies, including this one. The fourth mode of entry is franchising. The first company everyone thinks of when franchising is mentioned is, of course, McDonald's. Indeed, McDonald's has made a fortune through franchising, but again, franchising is not for every company. One disadvantage to franchising is the fact that the main firm loses control over quality. Does a Big Mac in Tokyo taste the same as one in Bluefield, even though they use the same ingredients? Since this company is in the business of making widgets, franchising is not an option for us as a mode of entry. The fifth mode of entry is joint venture, which is a good mode of entry as it gives the company access to the partner's local knowledge as well as it gives someone to share the cost. Botswana has one of the most stable and least corrupt governments in Africa. They also laid out the red carpet for foreign investors. They give tax breaks, offer less paperwork with getting licenses and permits, as well as easier access towards obtaining visas. On their embassy website, additional trade opportunities are listed and kept current, offering several businesses prospects to these interested in this country. This would be a good mode of entry due to the government being friendly to this type of venture, since not viewing it as some outsider coming in and taking over, but more as a company only trying to make a profit as well as displaying a concern and helpfulness toward local interest. Another advantage is the risk, which are shared as each country learns from the other, as well as sharing the rewards. The disadvantages include one side is always having to concede to the wishes of the other in order for the company to survive, and expenses must be shared without one bearing all the burdens, which would cause ultimate animosity. Also, one side usually becomes more powerful than the other, so this is an issue that must be addressed immediately before destroying the company. The joint venture mode of entry works well in Botswana because the government is looking for new investors having an interest in investing in firms that create jobs for the people of Botswana. The last mode of entry is wholly owned subsidiaries, which also is the most expensive due to all the costs associated with new renovating buildings and to meet the standards needed or desired by the company, and the risk associated because of the huge costs accordingly. The advantages are naturally having control over quality as well as making all management decisions. This mode of entry works well in Botswana since the government has plans assisting companies in creating jobs there, such as the aforementioned tax incentives, also helping companies locate and build appropriate buildings, as well as offering operational licenses, permits, and visas at a much faster basis, as we have already discussed. In conclusion, We have looked at Botswana as a possible trade partner while looking at the geography, people, its government, currency, and infrastructure of this country. Likewise, we have analyzed the 6 modes of entry: exporting, turnkey projects, licensing, franchising, joint ventures, and wholly owned subsidiaries. In my opinion, Botswana would be a good trading partner using the modes of entry of joint ventures and wholly owned subsidiaries. The reasons these are favorable is because the government is a politically stable democracy who is working to improve the people's health, infrastructure, and economy. Another reason Botswana is such an attractive country to establish a trade is because of the huge market that is available just across their borders in the country of South Africa, which is a growing market, but the country is politically unstable and would not be a good country to establish a partnership. Therefore, Botswana has proven to be a good possibility for a trade partnership. Botswana reminds me of a C-type student at midterm. He is not an honor student, but he is not failing. He has potential and is improving, and by the end of the semester could pull that C up to an A. Is Botswana the best country to invest in? The answer would be, of course, not. Is it the worst? Again, the answer is no. But it is somewhere in the middle and is greatly improving, and as the economy grows, the right company could grow along with it, proving a positive for both countries. Ultimately, depending on the products and modes of entry chosen, Botswana as a trade partner would prove quite productive for the United States.